The thing is, particularly in the small shop order, not that you and then go back and you like, my whole view of things is.
Try to get key
And
for
I
giving it online.
Okay, when marking out.
So yes.
I'm like, I get it, because in your head, thinking, okay, I know that, like, one of like,
It's so risky.
like, governments, federal, state governments, you don't have.
Okay, never. I have to get my. I'm wondering, it's nice to meet you. We're gonna meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot.
I actually got some school.
That's enough. That isn't. So there's,
Yeah, one end of it. But at the same time, I think.
no, yeah, and that's
They
fine.
do need to talk.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that.
Or loss.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, now I know.
Tell me.
So it's funny. They were asking.
But if we only.
All those things are on. Like, one is just said, hey, AJ's here.
Are you presented today or just listening?
Little fault. Big rock builder. Yes. Still and our connection. We're good.
Yeah.
Actually, January, it's like.
That's perfect.
I should be heading down.
I think so, yeah.
Sorry to figure out.
Yeah. How are you?
I don't know, that's just I know.
I'm fun.
You're available. Okay,
Yeah.
just keep me there. Have a good time.
Yeah, it's fine.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel like it's.
We kind of stumbled into this.
Yep, yeah.
Like, I think something he said, yeah, so I'm just.
It's fine. It's,
Yeah.
And now
Yeah. This is the impression that.
That's right.
Like,
That's
right. So it's.
Yep. Yeah, like I'm now paying. So.
Nice practice. Washington County, you never know.
It's the same thing, like. And then we had a meeting. Now, lawyer. Shouldn't we keep doing this?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's check. Thanks for all of you that traveled down here. Thanks to our hosts for having us. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 10:11 this morning. We're going to flip the agenda a bit and we'll do quorum and attendance and everything in a bit as we try and gather people here. We wanted to start off with a presentation from school today and we will start with y'all.
First of all, I'm delighted and happy to be hosting the board meeting. It gives us an opportunity to showcase our school and the trade. Hope you enjoy the tour that is planned later for you. I do have a couple of students that are going to speak on my behalf, more or less, and let you know about their experiences at Grosso Tech. And following their brief remarks, I would like to thank some individuals and maybe just some housekeeping. So We do have Alex with me. Olivia's certainly. So Olivia, why don't you?
My name is Olivia. I'm a senior for a trade called mechanical design and engineering. Sorry, I'm a senior in the trade mechanical design and engineering technology. I have had an interest in STEM for a very long time, and I was very happy to have an opportunity to really focus on it in my trade. So through my trade, we actually have the most work-based learning opportunities out of the school. And very uniquely, we have an opportunity for our summer from junior to senior year to take on an 8-week internship at Electrical. So all of most of our students applied for this internship. There were like at least 100 other students from other schools who had applied, and half of the students who applied, this very competitive program, made it into like an internship at Electrical. And we were actually welcomed back for internships like through work-based learning over the school year. So I've been able to work closely with engineers, designers, different people on different levels of the hierarchy at Electric Boat to actually learn what goes into design in my trade. And that has been very valuable because it's taught me a lot about communication, teamwork, effort, overall general work ethic. And I think it will, even though I plan on going straight to university after Grosso Tech, I know lots of my friends are going to greatly benefit, especially because they will be half of my, so all of the students who applied for full-time positions actually got them from Grosso. And the remaining students who are in work-based learning programs are expected to be offered full-time positions.
Thank you, Olivia from Melton. An interesting little piece of information. Last year, 12 out of our 18 MDEV students did sign up with Electric Boat. So, we're highly successful in terms of that partnership.
I am Alex. I'm a senior in the electric program at Grosso. I am one of the few people in my shop on work-based learning. I'm currently working at Everett Electric with Mr. Grossman's son, Gabe Grossman, which is pretty funny. But so far, I've been there since junior year, worked full-time in the summer and currently still there. And by the time this month ends, I should be about halfway through my apprenticeship at about 4,000 hours. And so that's a very good opportunity I've gotten from going to Grosso. And the reason I got my work-based job is all because of my teacher, Mr. Paradise. He's the one who actually taught me like the on-job skills, work etiquette, and all that, and recommended me to the company. There are not as many work-based opportunities as like drafting, for example, but there still is a few. There's only a couple kids in my shop currently doing work-based, but it's still I don't know, it's still a privilege that has been granted to us from going to Grosso, and that our trade teachers have fully supported. There would be more kids, but they're not really like as committed or dedicated as like the rest of us to the trade, or they just have other like interests and stuff. I am grateful that Mr. Paradise has kind of like taught me everything I need to know to be on the job site, and as I said, like the etiquette and like just certain like skills I need to be an apprentice.
Thank you, Alex. I'd like to recognize a few people that helped out in terms of organizing the meeting. Certainly Chef Jones, who is our teacher of the year, and those culinary students, as well as hospitality students under Chris Jones. I'd like to recognize them for providing food this morning. I'd also like to recognize my clerical staff, Cody, who's sitting in the back there, and Laura Tilly has to help set up the room and get things organized for this meeting. Certainly, they deserve to be recognized. Dr. Auger, it's great to have you as the interim chair. It's good to see Dr. Pritchard here and Superintendent Crocco visiting our school. As I said earlier, I hope you and the rest of the board will certainly enjoy the tour, and I'll be back to answer any questions. Do you have any questions for the student planner here?
Actually, I'll go. So you guys seem very happy, kind of proud of what you've done. And when did you see yourself on this path to get here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, was it middle school? Was it like, what got you to Grasso and what got you the path you're at? And like, when did you realize? And you could say like, when I was 2, I knew what I wanted to do, or you could say yesterday. I mean, it always fascinates me how you get from where they thought they were always going to go to something like where you are. And you're proud.
With me personally, my grandfather and father are also in the trades. My grandfather was a carpenter, my father a plumber, and so I always was kind of like I always like saw the trades as like something like cool and fun, and thought, hey, I might want to like join them in either the trades they do or just kind of like be a part of what they do. And I saw Grasso when they were like presenting all the different high schools and middle school, and I thought that'd be a pretty cool place to go to, pick a trade, get in it. And so I luckily got in, and we went through exploratory, went through all the trades, and what just stuck out to me was electrical. Decided to pursue it, and when they present the shop in exploratory, they explain that you can go on like Workbase, get a whole bunch of hours, and by the time you come out, you can only have like a couple more years after high school to get your license. And so I saw the vision, and I just kind of committed to it, and that's where I am now.
Olivia, when did you realize you're going to be doing stuff?
So my father actually is a nuclear engineer in the Navy, but that only really sparked my interest in engineering and STEM like overall. But uniquely for Grasso, at the end of middle school, honestly, I came here because I thought it was the best option just compared to my sending school. And then I honestly came here with a very open mind, not knowing what I was going to pursue. I actually had an interest in BET and IT and also drafting. But I could see like through exploratory, I could see that teachers like Mr. Allen and Mr. Wynn both are really dedicated to helping the students really grow into success. And I saw how invested they were in their students, and I thought that would be very valuable. Even as I was considering switching schools for a more academic focus school, I realized that the connections that were built here are very valuable when it comes to my future. So that's why I stayed. And I don't actually intend on working at EV like the rest of my friends, but I think will definitely take on like the lessons that
I've heard other people say that they're not gonna work in elected department, and they end up coming around. I have hope for you. Elected.
I get it. No, I don't mean to say that.
Years as well as, right,
Yeah, no.
engineers too.
It's gonna be great in about 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
The reason that I got interested in pursuing that is because I have more interest in the medical field. I don't want to be a doctor, but I want to do biomedical engineering so that I can kind of find the overlap between my background in mechanical design. Like I can find the overlap between that and then also my interests in biology and service.
I love that it sounds like a woman beating her own drum. I love it. Thank you both for joining us today.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ronki, for helping to coordinate this meeting also. I want to recognize just a couple house business things, that the bathrooms are right out that door, take a left, and they're right on the right side. In the event of evacuation, just go out the door, take a right, and follow the crowd. You can go either left or right. It'll take you to the main lobby, out the main doors. Thank you.
Great start. Great. All right, so it looks like, Robin, you want to take minutes?
Dr. Bird.
Yes.
Welcome. Dr.
Yes.
Valeri's. Mr. Norton,
Yes.
Mr. Patel.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Oh, I'm sorry, you know.
Mr. Gilday. Ms. Feeney. Mr. Coyne.
Here.
Mr. Burt. And Chair Arthur. Right there. For
And I can confirm that you asked for his right before the meeting. All right, so we do have forums.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any public participation today?
No, no one signed up for public participation.
Anybody present with any? Going once, going twice. All right, move on to the approval of the minutes. As per review of the February 10th, 2026 minutes. Does anybody have any corrections or items to discuss on those? Good enough. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I wasn't here last time.
So can,
Yeah.
keep that,
Yeah,
keep
Keith.
that.
And a second? Yep. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Yes.
Okay. And nevertheless, the motion carries. Okay, so now we'll move on to our action items for the day. The first on the list is our health and biosciences career cluster and the great reauthorization. It's like Dr. Munoz and Scriven.
Actually, they are, well, go ahead, Bob.
So they've already presented for the board, that we're meeting open committee and full board, so asking for us an action votes on board and have it fully.
Got it. So any questions or comments on board and straight reauthorization discussed in the last meeting? Would reauthorize for the next 5 years. Yeah. So we may have a motion to approve. Move. So move. Second.
Karen, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carried.
If I might, Mr. Chair, we move up the board action item that I have under my report, and then we can go back. to the
Absolutely.
presentation. That's great. And that's
Please do.
great.
All right.
So it's, we have, we have a, as you all may know, our advisory board statute at the moment has the board accepting gifts on behalf of the system. That is actually changing during this legislative session, but right now that is the case. And we have a gift that's come to us through probate court for JM Wright Tech. And so I need the board to accept it so that we can accept it on the courts and all sorts of exciting things that are going on. So I have a motion, if I can read it to you, and Rocky, I'll get it to you for the minutes. So Janet Schutte named Wright Tech as the beneficiary of a gift of $23,002.39 in honor of George Schutte, in accordance with General Statute Section 10-95. I have my glasses on. I move that the board accept the gift to benefit J.M. Wright Technical High School for the purpose of purchasing equipment and materials. So that's the motion. I'm happy to answer more questions, but basically they're very nice to have thought of J.M. Wright. We just need to accept it, and we don't have an intended purpose for it from the donor, but we'll see what Wright needs and we'll get them the resources. But this is the way the courts will release the money to CTECS. So that's the motion. If somebody would make, I would pretend that they made it, and I'll write wrong with the language.
So moved.
Thank you.
Can we get a second? Second. Okay, so that opens up any questions or discussion. So, all in favor of accepting this award?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. We'll let that award.
So that might allow us to let Mr. Norton go back to his business at the Capitol and get there, and
Thank you so much. That concludes all of our action items. But we're still allowing you to stay longer if you have the time. But that concludes all of our action items at this time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we have our item for discussion. Like Mr. Barber, and Mr. Grossman, talking about the workforce pipeline in action, like partnership signing day.
Great. You want me to sit up here? That'd be great. I am very, yes, I know. This.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jonathan Grossman. I'm leading the students here at Grasso, and I'm going on my 12th school year here. So, and I've been thankful to work with Willie Barber for probably the past 10 years, I think, in our connection with electric vote. It's gone through its trials and tribulations. It's gone through a lot of work and heartache, but we've managed to really pave the way for our students. This year, we have 4 students that actually, 4 MDET students that are working at Electric Boat through work-based learning. That process has been, like I said, it's been a struggle because it's battling against a large union at EB originally to be able to accept our students to work at that time. We're still working on our welding students to be able to get over there during the school year. But there's certainly, there's security clearances and things like that that we have to work out. But this connection has been wonderful, this relationship, and we're continuing to develop it. Our Lily has an electric boat has come in. We've arranged our interview session. We've had multiple sessions. So they have their SHIP program, their high school internship program that they've been running for about 10 years or so, that we get a lot of our students into as a partnership school. We're one of the priority schools. So, and they utilize our student skills. Students are definitely much more capable and much more knowledgeable than the average student walking out of high school. So we have managed to be able to get a lot of students starting right at the beginning of their at the end of their junior year into that summer. And then we arrange our hiring events, which we just had last week. So we had about a little over 27. There's probably about 5 more. So over 30 kids that have interviewed for EB for next year. And so far about 14 or 15 have accepted that offer. So the way the process worked, the students fill in their application, put in their application, then the interviewers come directly here and we organize that interview session. And then when they're done with that, they go right into another room to speak with those that fill out the paperwork and make the offer and know how much they're going to make per hour and what the parameters are. Obviously, we're dealing with high school students, so they need to go back to their parents and have that conversation and make those decisions. And those are hard decisions, as we all can understand. They're making decisions for their future, and they've already made those big decisions coming here. Who would forecast that? We have no idea. So, like I said, about 15 so far have made that decision to join Electric Boat. Over the years, that's been consistent. We've had about 30 past 3 years.
Yep.
3 years when we did our signing day.
Yep.
We've always, Grasso Tech has been the top school that has sent the most amount of kids to Electric Boat. This year, they are increasing and probably stepping on one, but they're increasing their hiring to almost threefold. So about 175 were hired last year.
Yep.
And this year they're over 400.
Yeah, our goal is that.
Yeah, right. So, our 30 or so that we can produce, we can't necessarily increase our output. We have no ability to do that. But that's been consistent. A little over 30 students have accepted it will go on to Electric Boat the following year. So that's been very consistent over the past few years. And we get students, I just had a graduate, went down to the Three Rivers Manufacturing Center last week, and there was a graduate from last year sitting in the seat getting ready to go through that, continue that program. So they're investing in their future. They're investing in a great connection to their community too, through Electric Boat, and the benefits, the pay, the ability to have a very comfortable life for the next how many years that they're going to be in the workforce, and also just gain that experience. It is tremendous. So, we're able to build that foundation here and then move them on to that next step where they can be super successful.
Yeah, I mean, John has said some great things here. I mean, it's been years of building out this programming, Electric Pro and Grasso Tech, many years. A lot of different, and what's nice about with Grasso and generally CTECS as a whole is it's been a lot of just, let's try this. We need to think innovative for the students, and it's always been student centered. So always trying to figure out what are ways we can fast track, what are ways that we can get and make these students opportunities easier, to get into the workforce. We're right down the road. So when looking at some of the things, just some highlights to add on, Grasso consistently is giving us over 20% of their senior class, over 20%. And we calculate that number. And I expect this year to be around the same. Actually, I keep seeing Grasso Tech students applying that didn't even go to this day after the fact, which is pretty cool to see. I'm seeing it across the board with all of our CTECS schools. But with Grasso, something really unique and riveting that I saw that was a stat was that we had 13 weld evals that happened. We just started the weld eval process with Sean Gregor, the teacher down in the weld school, and we brought our weld school team in. 12 of the 13 welders passed with flying colors, and they will be skipping early training, and they will be going straight into the weld school. That is really big for the shipbuilder. So that means it's cutting down time, that's getting them to work, that's getting them that put in so much time, these students, right? It's getting them to start earlier. So this is what we get when we work so closely together with partnerships, sharing resources, sharing curriculum. And it's really worked to great benefit. And I'm starting to see, so to give a shout out to some other CTECs as well, we have been to Ellis, we have been to Wyndham, we have been to Norwich, and we have been to, we're going to Vinyl on Friday, and Ellis, Wyndham, Cheney on the 25th. So when you add up all of these offers we're giving, it's going to be consistently over 100 offers. And that's what I'm expecting with tallying this number. CTECS continues to be there in giving so much of the percent of their class. This year, our goal is 400 high school students. So what's kind of cool is I am starting to see applicants coming from Eli Whitney and Platt as far as there. And something just for people to keep in mind, for these students that may have missed the opportunity of their application day, or that may be from a school that we're not there for, we are running on April 7th, a application day that's open to all students, all high school seniors. It's going to be at EB at 3:30. Students just have to apply ahead of time. And if you guys need any more information, I can share this after this meeting as well. But that's open to get more in. From there, just a few other highlights of the partnership is we have been running the welding competition with Grasso Tech for the last 4 years. This is our third year. And we will be running it again. It's going to be April 27th. It's going to be at Grasso Tech. And Cheney Tech and Bristol Tech come down. Cheney and Grasso historically every year have been sending students to nationals. So they have been sending students, and Project MG pays for that. So it's been a really awesome experience to see these students competing. It'll be happening again on April 27th, so keep that in mind. We do have some comprehensive schools that compete as well, Tortolot and Westbrook, and then Cheraho is coming over the border this year. So that will be interesting. So it'll be some fun state rivalry. But anyway, so going from that, signing day this year is going to be at the Guard. It's going to be due to just size. We are expecting, since our goal is to be around 400 kids with parents, with administrators, we booked a space that fits, upwards of a few thousand, right? I think it's roughly 2,000 at the Guard. But expect that invite. We just had that decision made yesterday, and it's going to be on May 28th. You guys are actually the first people to hear this. So I don't even think actually Sean EB really knows this yet either. So I wanted to let you guys know that Sean Marone gave me the green light yesterday. I was like, I want to get you guys to know this. It's going to be May 28th. It's going to be in the evening. And it's definitely a big space so that we want to make sure we can keep that consistency with parents and partners and everyone having a seat this year. Because right now our trajectory is we are going to definitely be above 175 Connecticut students. We're seeing the same in Rhode Island, also climbing and rising. And we wouldn't be able to do this without partners like you all. So it's a huge testament to that. But I want to just continue to hit the rhetoric that it's not just going out and recruiting. We're not that way. It's a relationship. It's a working, emailing John, getting to know John like he's my coworker, and same with all of you, right? And giving those tools and those skill sets to those students that they need to stay. We want them to stay. We don't want to just say, hey, come here and that's a number and that's my stat. I want to make sure that they're staying for years to come and they're a part of our generational stories we have. So yeah, I got to say thank you. And if there's any further questions on the things we're working on, I think John also put a plug. We're working hard. We're actually to do work-based learning in the trades too. We've been able to get that over the finish line in design, which is so awesome that we have that. And now we're working to do that in the trades. And hopefully this is the year. We're thinking differently, we're getting creative, and we're really trying to see what options we can do. So yeah.
We've also made a connection with Ready CT, which is an outside organization, and they are bridging the gap between the kids getting signing and the kids going right into the door. So Ready CT is going to be coming into us, meeting with our students, putting them through different seminars, and being able to make that kind of transition from high school into the workforce. So there's no missed opportunities, and no one kind of falls off the ledge there. So yeah,
that's an exciting one too. So I did want to reiterate that there's this gap, right? Students graduate, they don't have any school counselors, right? And they're getting their clearance, right? So there's this gap of a few months that go by. And if you think about it, for the standard student, they go to college, they have a counselor that keeps them on track, right? So when I saw this concept, I was like, oh, this is perfect. We got to make sure we stay. And they stay with them even into their job. So what we did was we did an analysis on what schools are giving us our high yield students every year. And for CTECS, Grasso and Norwich Tech give us high yield. And we want to make sure that these partners, also Grasso and Norwich, we've been able to pilot so much together that this again is, we'll see how this works, but we're very excited about it. And hopefully it helps get everyone to that start date.
Electric Bolt will have their signing day. We also have our Skills USA. Jameson does ours, also our internal signing day. So that has to do with those that are going to college, those who are going to military, those who are going to work. So we recognize all of those students in the same kind of format.
I could talk all day.
I have a couple of things you didn't mention that if you would. Do you want to talk about CTECS?
Oh my, I know, I could talk all day. So CTECS is another thing that's happening where we're currently in the process of we already are a partner with CTECS. So I want to start there. We do the liaison program similar like the welding with Grasso with Sean, where Kevin goes up and he works with April, the welding teacher, just like he works with Sean. Cheney, we're actually expecting roughly 8 weld evals when we go there. So what we have done is we are looking at the weld lab. We have worked with the Navy's Maritime Industrial Base to get some scaling training funds for their weld lab. Their weld lab, we are working to convert to make the machines very similar to what we have here at Grasso, because it's similar machines that give us the ability to do similar processes that we do in our weld school and how we weld at EB. So that's by day. And there's right now the analysis on the second shift, working with CT State by afternoon in that region with our expansion needs in the Hartford region. So that is actually in process. We're working right now on that. So that's one thing. And then additionally, I want to say too, our internship rec just closed. We always get a lot of interns from CTECS. We're expecting this year to have roughly around over 50 interns because ops really, really wants interns this year in design. So, and we had almost 200 applicants. So when you look at the amount of interest, it's heavy, and a lot of them are CTECS students. So again, this partnership, it's starting well before the start date. And I wanted to give that fact as well.
Can I interrupt that too? Is that summer internship is a commitment. It is an 8-week, 40 hours a week commitment. So for students, one, obviously we're ending school at the end of June this year, and then committing to go right into work, first week of July, all the way to almost starting school again. So that's a commitment for them. They're getting paid very well, but they're earning some great experience.
Yeah.
Been great.
Yeah. I know. We could talk all day.
Questions or? I mean, just a little commentary. So I've been kicking around the workforce side of things for, and I mean, this is electric voting, which you guys do, but that's the crown jewel of our ecosystem here in the state. What it's taken to create these public-private partnerships, the connections that y'all have with the schools at all levels, higher ed down. And we have a moat around that. Nobody else can do that. One, we got submarines, which is cool, but the submarine,
Yeah.
and anything we can do to support it. I'd love to hear these numbers here. And great to hear you're connected with Shannon over there, so well, and they've been talking about this part of the state for a bit, and very excited. So really appreciate it. I think on behalf of the board, if you have anything you need from us, any ideas you want to kick around, how we get expanded, have our head of all things manufacturing sitting here in the corner too. So really appreciate the state and schools. Thank you.
Thank you. I would say one other plug is we do try to showcase what you have in the younger grades. We do elementary and middle school programming. I've already started talking with Steven Sorrell from Ellis Tech on potentially having CTEC students going to a middle school to help teach that program. So we are really trying to, so anyway, I guess when you say help is we can jointly reshape the Connecticut ecosystem to make manufacturing look like it is, an awesome career. Not that, oh, it's a dirty career. How do we all together reshape the way people think and the way parents think? And it starts even down elementary, middle. So wanted to say that too. That's another really important fact. So I can stop there.
That's important. That is important. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think in kind of personal stuff, I mean, I have connections here or there, but like my sister-in-law works with Willie. My brother-in-law works at Veolia. I met him, but it was funny. I was overhearing conversation between my wife and my brother-in-law talking about education, like lower education. And he said the way we learned about recycling was that as kids, we learned about it in school and then went to our parents and said, we want to do this, we want to do that, like we want to recycle. And that's where things kind of continued off. And that's really the platform, I think, of building that. It's a great kind of life lesson that we all went through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add one more in the context of building awareness, right? That there is a social media campaign that's in the works that will be rolled out in the next month or so, month and a half, in the Cash Cats, but it's through the Manufacturing Innovation Fund. The idea there is to have this social media company targeted towards the middle schoolers, high schoolers, the 20-somethings, and their parents to make them aware of what manufacturing all about these days. It's got several lines. One is we're working closely with the Department of Electrical, but also small aviation site, as well as some robotics. Thank you.
Great word. Thanks for coming in. And.
Thank you.
Great.
Well,
Thank you.
great.
All right. Got a hard act call up.
I do.
We're gonna move on
I
to the
do.
executive director's
I
report.
do.
Dr.
Dude, thank you. And I just want to mention this, as Michelle was saying, that campaign is great and we're actually part of it. So,
Yep.
CTECS is part of that, marketing campaign, and that's been a wonderful opportunity. I thought I would just do two quick updates, one on the legislative session and one on admissions. So let me do legislative, I know which one's less painful, but let me start with the legislative update. So just so everybody knows, our colleague Pat Feeney is at the legislature today doing her nominations process. Mr. Coyne remembers that well from last year. We've tried to make sure that they're nicer to her than they were to him last year, but it's also her birthday, so she is testifying on becoming a board member this morning. So that's why she is not here. And also, too, I appreciate that Keith Norton jumped on. Both he and Jim Gilday had to show up at the legislature today because there's lots going on in that process. But we have made it through our appropriations to committee meetings. And with them, we're able to highlight that we continue to experience a budget deficiency. We are also trying to turn and do some expansion activities. And as I'll talk about in the admissions piece, our high schools are full, and actually probably a little over full, somebody would say. But so we're looking at how could we serve other high school students after our day program is run, and be part of the ecosystem for serving adults who would like to have some of the trade areas and that CTECS offers. So the governor did put in a little pot of money. I think I mentioned this last month when we met. Not little pot. He put in a little bit more than $1 billion in to start to look at expansion of adult training things again, like the welding program that we're doing with electric boat. Things like that would fit really nicely into that. And so we'll keep an eye on that from the workforce perspective. But every time the governor has asked me, what do you need? What can I do? How do we grow? I say, I don't have any more time in the day program. We have to think about how we grow afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends, whatever the case may be. So that it seems to be holding up well in the legislative process so far. Other legislators are very interested in it as well. And so hopefully it gives us enough money to kind of do a proof of concept for next year and then to make a bigger ask for the buy-in. So that's kind of the plan there. And we have our Finance Committee hearing next week, which is where we will go and talk to them about our request to build out Window Tech. So anybody who's been to that building knows, Willie and I were rolling our eyes about it earlier. It's long since served its time, and we need a new school for that population who's been really good about coming to that school, and despite its conditions. So both the teachers and the students. So we're hopeful that we're going to start the process of moving Window Tech and getting it built. It takes 5 years to build a school building, and we want to open in the fall of 31. And it does provide an opportunity, as Willie and Sean and I were talking about beforehand, for us to think about strategically. In addition to the trades we already offer at the school, what else could we be doing? I was going to say, or ask Willie to talk about it too, but the electric boat is not just taking manufacturing students. They're interested in our diesel students, or taking carpentry students, taking electrical students. So, thinking about the broad range of trades is really important for us to do. So that, we're everybody's focused, I think, on the first week of May and hoping that it gets here soon, and we can go to the legislative session, but we're fairly well. So that's that piece. The other piece I wanted to share is, you all know this is the second year that we're doing our lottery, a limited lottery for admissions. And we had nearly 9,000 applicants for about 3,500 spots. So we have a lot of interest in the tech schools, and that is a good problem to have. I'm struck by Alex and Olivia. I know that Principal Mello didn't set it up that way, but I think this is one of the things that we hear a lot, which is that there are students who know from a very early age, they would like to be in the trades. Maybe they don't know which one, but they know they're going to be. And then other students who don't know what they want to do, but know that they prefer to come to us and they're sending school. So we have a lot of interest. We have already extended 3,500 offers to students. We actually have a much better acceptance rate this year than last year too. So anybody who doesn't, those other, the balance of those students who don't get in on the first try, sit on a wait list. Some schools have very small wait lists. So again, Wyndham Tech being one of those has, a couple dozen students on a wait list. I told a story recently that Bullard Havens last year, this year, had just about 1,000 applicants for 230 spots. So again, beautiful new school, lots of interest in being there, a strong alternative to the public system that's there, even though we're another public school. So the waitlist differs. We hear a lot, we're hearing from legislators and a lot of parents, and I will just say that Patty King, who is our director of admissions, takes a lot of emails and calls from parents who are really unhappy, understandably, that their student didn't make the draw. And she very patiently tries to explain our process and what we have going on. But we're hearing from a lot of legislators who are saying, can you check on this kid? They didn't get in. They would be a 4th generation plumber. And so, there's a lot of people who are frustrated by our process, but with that volume and the fact that we're a public school and we need to be accessible to all, public lottery, the random lottery is the best mechanism for us to employ. So we're starting to look at some data about the student performance. I think there's also some concern that the lottery is going to diminish performance of our students. And we want to make sure that's not the case. And so we're going to start to look at some of that data as well. I say, and I know that Superintendent Crocker says regularly, I am sorry for the 4th generation plumber who didn't get in, but I'm also really, really excited about the 1st generation plumber who's getting in. And we have a lot of students in this state who have not had access to our schools, maybe didn't have a strong relationship with their guidance counselor, who had to write you a reference in the past, maybe just didn't even know about our schools in the past. And so I'm excited that there are students and families who will have a generationally changed experience by getting into our schools for the first time. And I'm hoping that we can find some ways to get more students who are already know they're on this path, some of that additional programming that we talked about. So that's where we are with at the moment. We are working the wait list. The wait list stays active until October 1st. So as students at the last minute decide that they don't want to come to us, that spot is filled. If their family moves, that spot is filled. We do try to accommodate students who move state and state. So if I got into Grasso, but my family moves to Norwich, how do I do that? Or if my family moves to New Haven, how do I do that? So we try to work with the students who have been accepted and make sure that we can get them in the door. But there's a lot of competition. The governor is very fond of telling me, he likes to say that it's harder to get into CTECS than Harvard. And so that's his line of late. But again, it's a good problem to have, but we definitely, just so you may hear from folks as well who are frustrated that they are not, their students are not, their children are not getting in. And feel free to hand them off. Mike and I certainly are fielding those calls and trying to answer those calls, but believe that we're headed in the right direction and we'll see how it goes. But happy to answer any questions that you all may.
Process-oriented approach is the best approach, but at the same time, you said it, right, is increasing capacity.
Yeah, we have to, and I appreciate you all pushed on that on our kind of priorities. I was being a little coy waiting to see what the governor signaled, but then it signal expansion, and I think that's good. We also had a meeting actually about a week ago, and Mackenzie, who's here from our teachers union, we had a meeting with the head of the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents to talk about how we can work with comprehensive high school, because they're getting pushed to also start to build out these things, and there's no way that they can really afford it. We can barely afford to do what we do. So I think the more we can do some partnerships, people are very interested right now in the Bristol Tech model, which allows 11th, 12th graders to come and get training. but that's a small scale, that's 75 students. So in order to get at this, 6,000 that we're not getting to, or, we got a lot more work.
I think just a comment on that, which is that on the comprehensive space side, one way to start is to first educate on the process rather than on the infrastructure. Because some of these comprehensive schools have the infrastructure, but may not have it. And then some of the schools may actually have the bandwidth for investment because of the communities or what have you, but don't again know how to do it. So I think if you can start down that path and identify those comprehensive schools at which stage are there, and then work with those that have some of that infrastructure already in place, but create a process that the CTEC has already fine-tuned and share with them. And then there's the others that may be at stage where they don't have infrastructure, and approach might be different there.
So I'd like to, Mike Rocco for his update. Well,
So I'll just piggyback, that's exactly right. So before I came, I was the principal at a company in place with in high school. We didn't have the capacity nor did we have the infrastructure. But I didn't know anything about CTECS and the infrastructure capacity that they had here. And I was all done on how I thought we were going to create like all of these youth programs and things like that. And then I come to Grasso Tech and I walk into a shop and I'm like, no way I could have done this. So it's a nice one. But there are other communities that can do it, right? So I think that that's exactly right. And yeah, I'm excited to always partner with my colleagues out there in the LEAs and work with them and help them out and get some help in return. The other thing I'll say is that I was talking to the principal at Cheney yesterday. There is a welder at Cheney that is like nationally recognized that's going to be at your competition. He's also a fantastic pitcher on the baseball team.
Oh, well.
So this student is deciding whether to go play baseball at college or go right into welding and make a good living there. So that's not a bad decision to have to make. So,
I like that he's in the final.
yeah.
yeah, she had that.
So a couple of quick things. So today I want to introduce, we have a new Assistant Superintendent of Pupil Personnel, Joshua Robinson. He's over here. In a second, I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. Josh is going to be leading our work, all things students, special education, student services, behavioral health supports, compliance, all of that stuff. So he's stepping into a huge job, but I'm confident that he's going to do great in it throughout the interview process. Josh was a strong candidate and we had a strong pool and he just demonstrated a deep understanding of his knowledge of people services, his ability to lead systems and startup programs where he came from, and his student-focused leadership style. So all of that kind of stood out and that's why he's here. We're excited to have him, give him a little bit of time to introduce himself. Be around for a while.
Super excited to be here. Every time I walk into these buildings, I'm just humbled by how amazing just what students have to access, and then hearing from the students, absolutely amazing. Those students they have a focus, they know where they're going. Couldn't ask for anything better. So just a little bit about myself. My last job, I was in Linder Locks for 17 years, the director of services. In my time there, I actually started a alternative high school, which was focused on getting kids out into the workforce and building their capacity and being ready for life after school. I also had the opportunity to start an 18 to 22 transition program. So we serviced the surrounding community. We brought kids in from other communities, again, with a focus of really more working with students with more severe, profound disabilities, but preparing them for also life after school and getting them ready, even into some of the trades, going as far as starting a business with a laser cutter and giving them the skill to have their own business and sell their products on Etsy. So some pretty amazing things that we did. So day 5, learning a lot, absolutely loving it, really. One of my core beliefs is that every student can learn. And a big part of my job is ensuring that we're breaking down any barriers that are getting in the way of students to be able to access the amazing things going on in school. So I'll be working really hard with staff to really just focus in on equity, make sure we have the right things in place, the right tools in place, and really bring some systems in place to be able to support all of our students. So really thrilled to be here and I look forward to getting to know all of you. Thanks.
Thanks, Josh. Dr. Pritchard mentioned that, you know, we get those calls from parents who are fourth generation plumbers and they're very upset that they didn't come in. But we also have an awesome responsibility and opportunity here, and Josh is going to lead that way. My father did heating and air conditioning. I said that a bunch of times. If I wanted to go into heating and air conditioning, I would get into it. Like there was nothing that would stop me. I'd have a job coming out of high school. I'd have somebody that could teach me everything. But I've been in education for 26 years and I've come across students that have absolutely no guidance, no help, no anything. And when they step into our schools and they walk into a plumbing shop or they walk into an IT shop, we're providing them with a life-changing opportunity, and that's a real awesome responsibility that I think we ought to take seriously here. So excited to keep that work going. On the academic side, we have our scheduling season is off and running, so we're working. All of our schools are working on their 2026, 2027 schedules. If you haven't been in a high school, you don't know how awesome and complex of a process that is. So basically what we're doing is trying to make sure that our students' course requests, graduation requirements, and program pathways are all aligned. We're looking at staffing levels, making sure that we have appropriate staffing levels across academics, trades, and support services. And then just making sure that we're fiscally responsible with our scheduling and working to make sure that everything is finalized by the end of this school year so that we have the summer to kind of fix any issues and communicate appropriately with families, teachers, etc. On the student side, we have a couple of celebrations. So Oliver Wolcott High School had a bunch of National Honor Society students that represented our school on a national stage up at the LEAD convention in Washington. Their presentation focused on community building through fundraising. I had a chance to meet with one of the students that went up there early on in my tenure, and she told me if we didn't find funding for her to go to Washington, D.C., she was going to make sure that I got fired. So we found the funding. She got there, and I lived to see another day. Also, our CT Aero program celebrated their graduation on March 6th. So they'll be moving on, and we'll be excited for that. That's it. So, give me questions.
Can I add just one thing on the Aero event? Kiffy reached out yesterday and reconnected us with one of his contacts at Pratt & Whitney. And Rocky can speak to this too, but our CT Aero program has high school grads who are doing their maintenance program, and they just had a recent visit to Pratt and got job offers on the site. So on site while they were doing the tour. So very excited to have that connection there as well. So they graduated and had jobs if they wanted them with Pratt & Whitney, but also some of the smaller Bombardiers. So it's exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah.
All right, then I think that's it for us, and ready to come back to you.
Yep, two quick things for me. One little news from the front. You don't know, I run development in Hartford, my day job. I can tell you right now, we've got a lot of development going on. Some things are just falling down, so we have to deal with it. Where we're hitting bottleneck after bottleneck, framing, finished carpentry, and anybody who's licensed to do environmental abatement. That's holding up. The one way or another, everything that's held up is in one of those three areas, for what it's worth. We also have several of those.
What's the environmental one again?
So this is where I'm out over my skis, but the abatement on the inside, people can go in and say, how bad is this?
Yeah.
The folks that can actually remove asbestos, remove the chemicals, especially when you get into capital project like schools, they can do that. There's an increasing need for folks who understand the technology behind the LiDAR that they use to scan properties ahead of time. Found out that in Hartford, for instance, used to have a lot of coal lockers, things like that. Somebody discovered at some point, probably in the 70s, that the radar used to detect if you had a coal locker couldn't tell if you had 1 or 2 or 10 coal lockers stacked on top of each other. So they would just dig a hole, drop it, and put another one on top of it. So now LiDAR could get in. So there's some things there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's really what in General City. For what it's worth, and several of the larger contractors and some of the smaller ones that are starting to come up are really interested in theory in work-based learning, internships, they're asking for. So if there's anything I can do, yeah, we have a lot. The only other thing, and I'm probably not the most qualified by any means to talk about this, but interesting legislative session. In particular, SB 5. You will see a lot of language in there about expanding workforce capabilities at the state level. Dr. Valeris and Kirtia, you guys are seeing a lot being pushed toward DECD. There's a lot of emphasis on funding for understanding and mitigating the impacts of AI in workforce and optimizing it. It's quite vague at the moment. I saw the bill when it was 9 pages. I see it now when it's 97. Go democracy. But it looks like there's a lot of momentum coming. I think people are starting to get their heads around what is this doing to the workforce for the workforce. And there's a lot of so all I have for my and any other updates, comments? No. Well, hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you, sir. Seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? You're abstaining, you can say, I guess. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So, Duncan, you want to say anything about the tour? What happened next? No, we have options for those who can say to,
We do have a really extensive tour for you. We're gonna head over next door to a generous digital media center, who's graciously allowed us to use our space today, and they're working really diligently on the graphics that they have all across the school. From there, we're gonna head down to.
So there's actually going to do 5 of our wonderful shops. So you have digital, you have BET, you have mechanical design, as well as also
Environmental.
yes, yes.
So you can see.
So in culinary will be the last place, and that's where you'll get your wonderful bucks. Go for lunch.
Thank you, Tina.
All the places you don't show me, Willie.
Yeah, you could.
as well, then.
Yeah.
Really, thank you both.
What'd you say?
Great job.
So I'm hoping really get bumping.
Yeah, exactly.
I do want to say though, I cannot remember his name. But I tossed it. And
No, it's
And
because it's
just-
don't forget standards. And be hands, stop.
In machining. So that might be that one, but Wyndham had great.
yeah, because it was your turn.
Oh, Kevin?
Yes.